Hello, everybody. This is Presto.
CorporalNosaj.
And you are listening to episode 77 of the
77.
Nintendads podcast. And we're here. We're here in real life. We've broken the fourth wall and now exist in the same little office.
Same metaverse.
And today, we are going to be talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Our first impressions. Because it's still early.
We'll give our input on $70 price tag, as well as what the Nintendads will be doing for the rest of the month.
And on today's episode, besides fighting technical difficulty issues, we are going to be talking about our first early impressions of Tears of the Kingdom, not horrible like karaoke simulator. We were talking.
Fun fact: when I was here last time, I bought this case for myself for my old Switch, and now that I have the new Switch, naturally, look at the reflection on
how
it. It is crazy.
Fancy! Oh my gosh, you're just creating an infinite mirror of reflections.
Look at that Switch, man.
So let me see this for a second.
Yeah.
So this is the Legend of Zelda
Tears of the
Kingdom
OLED
Switch.
Yes.
And this is nice. This screen is nice.
Yeah.
This screen is very nice. Joy-Cons got a little styling there.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch the unboxing video of this kind of on Facebook and YouTube maybe. Anywho, Tears of the Kingdom. It's out. We've been playing it. Everyone on Earth has been playing it. The lights are falling down. That actually kind of looks cool. Everybody's been playing it. It's, game of the century.
There we go.
My monitor doesn't like this. Everything's falling apart. It's gotten basically perfect scores. People are saying it's the best video game ever made. I don't know if I agree with all that, but it's very good.
I haven't heard anybody have any tears about Tears of the Kingdom.
That hurt me physically. Physically. It's not just emotional damage. It's physical uncomfortability.
Physical damage.
So, where do you want me to start? Because this is a very, sort of impromptu. We have no notes. We have no notes for this episode. It's going to be very off the cuff.
Let's discuss this first and foremost. Is Tears of the Kingdom what you have played so far? Because one of the big debates that we've always had in all of our prior episodes is that Tears of the Kingdom was originally supposed to be a DLC, and then for some godforsaken reason decided, no, we're going to turn it into a full-fledged game. What you have seen so far, is this a souped-up DLC, or is this a genuine real game?
I cannot answer that question because I did not play enough of Breath of the Wild to really get a gauge on that.
Okay.
Because right now, so I started Tears of the Kingdom. I went to the northwest, to the Hebra region. And I don't think I ever went there in...
Did you beat the game?
No.
You didn't fight Ganon?
Nope.
You didn't unlock all four of
Not even a little bit. I think I did 2 animals.
He doesn't even qualify.
So that's the thing, is to me, coming in, this is basically a new experience. It's got some of the similar mechanics. Fairness, I know the story.
In all fairness, most of the reviews of games that I haven't played, but you have, so now just roles are reversed. You're the noob in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So...
if you've watched any of my streams of me streaming Tears of the Kingdom, we're no strangers to the game over screen around here. I've carded more times in Zelda than I have in Monster Hunter in the last year.
Wow. That's
facts.
That's saying a lot. So, I mean, with that being said, I personally think that if you look at this from a story arc, the world has evolved, has grown, has risen in depth. There's a lot to the map and purpose and reason. With all of the things that they have added into the game, I don't see it could have been in any way a DLC.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. What I think is this is my grand theory. I think I talked about this on the last stream. So I think they had the story in mind of like the next chapter of the story, continuing off of Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
I think initially the DLC would have been that story chunk, and you go to the different places, and maybe the Sky Islands were there, maybe not. But everything I see in Tears of the Kingdom as far as new functional mechanics, because you can change the map, you can change the story, and it's still DLC. I think where it doesn't make sense as DLC is all the new mechanics. Is the time thing where it goes backwards, is the,
well, because
Ultra
the new
Hand.
mechanics, not only did the new mechanics come in, but they also changed the UI and how things are organized and how you interact with those new mechanics.
I think shoehorning those new mechanics into the old game as DLC was not going to work. I think the DLC was going to be the map with the changes, the story continuation, obviously, but I think the whole reason that the mechanics in the game are what they are is because of watching how people have played Breath of the Wild. Because if you watch people play Breath of the Wild, people do crazy stuff, right? Mm-hmm. They do bomb jumps, they're riding trees across the map, like they're using Breath of the Wild to do what Tears of the Kingdom lets you do. So I think the DLC was originally the story and the map, and then they started saying, well, what if we had this mechanic? What if we had this mechanic? Well, now this is a new game, and there it is.
So I agree and I disagree. I think the reason it became a full game is because of the new mechanics. But what I think the map situation was, the DLC, and this goes back to the original trailer, it was presented as a very dark game.
So maybe just
the underground.
Yeah.
What I think was going to happen was the DLC was that opening cinematic where, hey, let's explore this castle now that we've defeated things and things have settled down.
Yeah.
And wait a minute, things aren't looking right. There's this underground cave. Let's explore it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, here's this whatever. Darkness happens. All heck breaks loose, and you are left in the Underdark, I'm going to call it. And that was the dark version of the game. And then it would have been revealed that you can go up to the surface, and it would have been what the map is. And I think...
And you think that the Sky Islands wouldn't have been in there at all?
Correct. What I think...
I can agree with that.
Because the Sky Islands, from a trailer perspective, came much later.
Yeah.
So what I think happened was that they then reworked the opening, that he was starting up top and then discovering below. Mm-hmm. That's what I think happened.
Do you think the original mechanics were part of the DLC, or do you think that it was definitely added?
I think the original mechanics were part of the DLC. No,
like the Ultra Hand, the new mechanics.
No. I'm sorry. No new mechanics in the DLC. I think purely original, because if you think about the Underdark and what you're able to do down there, all of the original mechanics would have still been applied.
Would have been fine, yeah.
So it's not until you start doing the new shrines and the Sky Island does the new mechanics and Ultra Hand and stuff really come into play.
I hate to say it because it's a meme, but do you think... Because this would be a very Nintendo thing to happen, right? Mm-hmm. Is they're doing Tears of the Kingdom development, they're trying to figure out new mechanics, and some developers like asking his like 8-year-old kid, "What's your favorite game?" My favorite game, guy, is Fortnite. I like to build things with my friends. And then the developer comes in and goes, "Kids like Fortnite. They want to build stuff. Think about it. Minecraft, Fortnite. Why can't they build in Zelda?" And that's where this whole... Because it does weirdly follow a trend in mainstream gaming in a very Nintendo way.
It does follow a trend in a very Nintendo way, but I think Fortnite is trash. Thanks, Fate Maker.
Yes! Fate! That's the best intro piece of chat you could have come in with. Love it.
What I think is that there's more direct connection in the building, because there were plenty of opportunities where there was a raft floating around that they found on the side of the beach in Breath of the Wild. And then you use the leaf to fan in order to keep pushing the boat forward. There were some aspects of physics in the original shrines where, like, you had to move the marble ball and roll around.
Those so much.
I think that there was like some, because you could use your you could use the ice to pick things up. You could use
the metal. The metal was basically Ultra Hand in the original game.
It was magnetic, but it was the weaker version of the Ultra Hand. I think there was enough picking up metal plates and organizing them in order to make bridges. My phone.
I don't know how to make it stop. But I think... Do you think Nintendo added in the building stuff to follow that trend?
I think they wanted to follow the trend, but see, you had said something off camera a while back that I think really much plays into this. A lot of what kept Breath of the Wild alive was some of the quirky, game-breaking things that they were able to do. Using bombs to launch yourself across the map, right?
Yeah.
So I think some of that building came from that situation.
Okay. Yeah, I think that. I think the way people have played, like I said before, the way people have played and continue to play Breath of the Wild inspired some of the...
On my plane coming here from Florida to Jersey was a woman sitting in front of me playing the original Breath of the Wild on an original blue and red handled Switch.
Depressing. That's sad.
So I have to immediately imagine that she found the love for Tears of the Kingdom and went back to the original to play it before she goes deep into Tears of the Kingdom. That's my only thought.
I guess.
But Breath of the Wild clearly still has a place. You had a
release date. Like, you could have planned your time better and played the original one. So yeah. Where else do we want to start?
So,
because we're talking about where it's come from, and now let's talk about the actual game.
Yeah. So my first question really came down to, was it a DLC versus a game? Well, I think we've definitively say that it was a game.
Yeah. Is it a $70 game?
Ooh, the price tag.
Now, I think I've played, I don't know, not as many hours as I would have liked to play. Thanks, Street Fighter 6 beta. I haven't played as much as I'd want, but I feel like I'm really getting a sense of how dense the game is and how much content there is there.
Okay.
I don't know if... I don't know if that constitutes a $70 game. That's the only way... Because the frame rates we'll talk about that. The graphics are
the same,
pretty much on par with Breath of the Wild. The only category where the game seems to have, like, there's the creativity, but you can't be like, oh, you can, glue a rock to a log. That'll be $10. Like, that's not it.
That's a snippet. That's a bite right there.
I think the only thing that could possibly justify it is content and the length of the game.
There's going to be a meme made of a guy like pointing down, and it's got to have Nintendo written over the top of its face, and it's going to have a picture of Elmer's glue, a rock, and a stick or whatever. And then it's going to be like, the next one is going to be the guy sending his hand out going, $10.
The only thing I think could possibly justify the price is the amount of content. And I haven't played far enough into the game to
You haven't gotten to the Underdark, have you yet?
I haven't gone to the Underdark, and I just got to Rito Village, which is the first point of interest.
You have seen...
I've done probably 16 shrines, at least 20 shrines.
Okay, so you have seen enough of my stream, so I'm not spoiling too much by talking about the Underdark. But in the essence, the Underdark is almost, or is, the exact same full size of the Overworld, using Minecraft terms. So, with that being said, that's essentially building a whole new map. Now, you're using the same map, so mechanically speaking, the map is still there, but you are retexturing it, adding all new...
Yeah, but it's Dark Souls map. And then you have the Sky Islands.
And the Sky Islands.
There's commercial breaks, because there's not,
there's not a whole lot there, but there's enough there to be interesting. They redid the shrines, and there has to be a story element as to why the shrines in the overworld are different.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a story there that drives all of these changes. And to me, therein lies, you've got the writers, you've got the dialogue and everything else.
But why 70 and not 60?
Because everybody else in the industry is doing 70.
No, but Nintendo had the opportunity to say all of our first-party games are going to be $70 from now on. But they said they're not all going to be 70. We're going to evaluate them on a case-by-case basis. This is a $70 game. This is the first game we think is worth $70.
So that will set...
And maybe it's just a Nintendo,
being arbitrary?
Oh, well, this one's really good. The next Smash Brothers, we're still going to put in a lackluster effort. It's going to be charged 60. Zelda, that's going to be 70.
Well...
Maybe it's just perceived quality by Nintendo. You
bring up a very good point. I'm going to touch base on that, but I'm going to pin it for a split second. They are setting a bar by saying this is what a $70 quality game is. This is where our $70 benchmark is. The next time you see a $70 game from Nintendo, it's going to be at this benchmark. That's what they're saying.
That is interesting, yeah. And that also works from a marketing angle, right?
Yes.
Because if they come out with a new Mario that looks just like Mario Odyssey 2, and people are kind of like, I wonder if it's going to be good or not. Because, there was Galaxy and then Galaxy 2. And
Galaxy, we're not saying.
So, I wonder if they're going to be like, guys, when you see a $70 price tag, you see a 95 or better meta game or meta score.
So, something else to point out, and you're the one who told me about this, so I'm taking out that pin now. The game was done last year.
Yeah. It was.
The game was officially completed. It could have been released, but Nintendo chose to shelve the game for another year so that they can polish and tweak some things, fix some minor bugs. How many times have we talked about companies and developers and publishers releasing a game which we felt was way too early? Releasing a game that had no business being on the market because of its flaws.
Well, and I think that has been... people are starting to not let that go anymore. Which
Correct.
I'm very happy to see. You, Pokemon Violet. I'm pointing to Pokemon Violet. You know what you did. Pokemon Violet came out, and it was a technical mess. And I'm pretty sure that Tears of the Kingdom was already delayed by the time that whole fiasco happened.
It was, yeah.
But, there's been a lot of games that have come out, and people are like, this is not finished. This needs 6 more months. And I think when they started to get that message, they looked and they're like, so if we release this like this, everybody's going to say the same thing. Yep. And they're going to miss the point that this is the best Zelda game we've ever made. So, and I think if you're going to delay it by 6 months, you're going to delay it by a year.
To make sure it's done right.
Because I think, yes. But I think they want to release it in a very specific time of year.
Yeah.
Because you are getting... Everybody's buying it because it's a crazy thing, right? You're getting spring, not quite on summer break, but spring.
Yep.
And then anybody who didn't get it now is getting it for Christmas.
I mean, so this is all the
So it's
parents,
like 2 big waves of it.
This is the parents who are buying the console or the game for their son or daughter because they did well in school. They graduated. This is your gift to yourself or whatever.
Tax refund.
Exactly. And then you're right. Then it drives the hype of how well the game comes out. And any of those stragglers who haven't gotten it, then you've got Christmas and the holidays. That makes sense.
Also, you have all the, well, you don't anymore. I was going to say, you have all the important game award shows during the summer. You have eaten...
No E3.
You had E3. You have Summer Games Fest, and you have the Game Awards. Those are both in summer.
Anthem and Diablo 3 are a couple that were nowhere near ready to
release. Yeah, I wasn't in on Diablo 3 at launch. I played it like way years later when it had been fixed. Anthem, I don't know if Anthem was ever gonna be in a ready state for release.
think Anthem was too big of a project. You're right, it was not released on time or released ready.
I think it was a good idea that they didn't know how to flesh out.
Yes. Yeah.
They should have given it to another team. I don't know. I've never played it. I'm not qualified to say anything about it.
I think it maybe need another 2 years before they actually fix things.
But yeah, people are starting to not let that kind of stuff go.
And so my point goes, they took a whole nother year of polishing. Is that worth the $10?
No. Because Overwatch Blizzard delayed Overwatch 2, and then, like, I don't care about delays. You don't get to charge me more based on how inefficient your team is.
Okay. But I think that
maybe that extra layer of polish justified to Nintendo. We're making sure this game is perfect.
We're bringing that bar. We're setting that bar again for what our first party game should be.
I think definitely the price, the discussion on the price happened during that year delay.
Yeah.
There's no chance they were thinking 2-3 years ago, we're making a $70 game. I think it was a recent thing. You're seeing all the premium big titles come out and they're $70. Nintendo wants some of that.
Hogwarts Legacy was probably the first game that I, during playing, thought, this may actually be worth a $70 game.
Yeah.
So,
according to Nick Yeti, the first game that was worth $70 to him was Returnal. Because it was made for the PlayStation 5. Okay. It's got the haptic feedback. It's the first game that to him on PlayStation 5 that looked next gen.
Okay. Spooky, fresh haircut. Yeah, thank you.
Anthem was restarted by EA Games a year before they launched and never allowed to... fascinating. Interesting. Welcome in, Spooky. Look, we're here in person.
It's humans.
Live. Yeah, okay.
I keep, brushing my hair, and then I keep looking at myself, and what is wrong with my head?
Where is it? So, let's talk about the actual game.
So, we did an episode not too long ago. If you're listening to us long enough, take a shot.
I will take a shot.
And we discussed mechanics, graphics, and gameplay.
No, story, graphics, mechanics.
Story, graphics, mechanics. And those were the benchmarks at which we graded some games from.
Okay.
So, let's apply that same logic here.
Okay.
We've talked about whether or not it was a game versus a DLC. We've talked about whether or not it was worth the dollar value because of that.
Yeah. By the way, I do think it is worth $70.
Okay. All right.
So far. I think. Well, I don't know. If the game continues at the pace that I'm playing it at, which is extremely slow because it's just so dense, if that continues to have that density, and it might just be because I'm new to the game.
It may be your approach in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it goes through the entire map and the entire length of the game at this density, yes, it's a $70 game. Because then I think it's
right off the bat,
content.
you know that you have to go to 4 cities, and what you've done so far has gotten you to that one city, so you're going to do that 4 times.
But I'm not even, I could have doubled, I could have say I've played for 15 hours, I could play 15 more hours without going to that one city yet.
Yes, you could have. And
so,
I have, because I haven't gone to the city yet.
So where do you want to start? Graphics?
Let's start with graphics. I think that's the easiest one to approach.
Graphics, no. I mean, it's a beautiful game, but it's you do side by side against Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it's the exact same. I mean,
Breath of the Wild was developed. Can you see it? No, it's in a shelf somewhere. Breath of the Wild was designed for EU. EU. Wii U.
Yes, it was designed for Wii U. I do think that there were increased graphics for this game. I do think that they've added things to it. I've seen some lighting and reflecting, and I've seen movements in wind and grass mechanics popped in and out in Breath of the Wild. You're not having grass mechanics popping in and out. There was some springing of clouds in Breath of the Wild. You're not having that. That was in the very early release.
Yeah,
there were minor
most of that
things.
got patched.
It got patched.
Eventually.
None of that has happened in Tears of the Kingdom. So,
but Tears of the Kingdom has its own issues.
It does.
But that's... So, I guess, I don't know
if that graphics
really...
or is that mechanics? It's not mechanics.
I would say it's under graphics.
Yeah.
It's visual performance. So, Tears of the Kingdom has had a lot of issues with frame rate drop. That has really since been patched out, because I don't notice it ever happening to me. So, I guess you can...
There was a patch that just came out this week that fixed a lot of the bugs,
duplication glitch
bugs
that people have been using.
So while there may have been glitches in the game, I don't necessarily think that that's a
the frame rate dropping is a performance issue. They're fixing the glitches. That's fine. If they want to patch bugs so people can't do the item duplication
So the frame rate drop is something that a lot of people talked about coming up to release, at release. I'll be honest with you, is not something I was ever concerned about. I don't look at frame rate as a huge issue.
No, but if you're watching the videos of the early copies that people got as reviews before they had any patches, it would be you would be fighting a large group of enemies and the frame rate would drop so suddenly, it'd be you would have a hard time.
Like it was true lag?
Yeah, it would go to below 20 frames. And in a couple seconds, that's not, you're not playing normally.
I never had that experience.
I didn't either. I think it's been playing very smoothly.
Yeah.
But I think graphics, you're not scoring any points in this game for graphics.
You're
it's
static.
Pretty.
Yeah.
It's designed well. I think it's a very pretty game.
You're not improving on the score. You're keeping the score the same.
I want to know now what would have instantly justified this as a $70 game, and I would be going on and on about the graphics, is if this game ran at 60 frames per second.
I personally think the game could have ran at 60 frames per second.
Not on that. Not on that. So they have modders and emulators already have the game running in 8K at 60 frames per second.
Okay.
So the game can run it, the hardware can't.
Okay.
If they would have figured out how to get it...
So it's a Switch hardware issue, not the game.
Yes. The game... Anybody who's there's a lot of people who are buying the game, putting it on their shelf, and then emulating it so that they can get higher fidelity graphics and higher frame rate.
If that's what jives you, gives you your jive or whatever it is.
But if they would have said, we're getting this to run at 60 frames on the Switch, that would have instantly justified the $70 price point to me.
Okay.
But they didn't. I'm talking about hypothetical.
See, this also goes back to you value certain things about buying a game differently than I do, and I value story over performance a lot of times.
Okay, so graphics, we've done in the graphics. Do we
Yep.
want to do story, or do we want to talk about mechanics?
Let's do story, because I think mechanics is where we're going to have the most conversation.
Okay. So story.
I will say that the opening cinematic gives you a hook. You are the fish, you saw the bait, you bit the bait. That's me.
I think the bait for you is Matt Mercer. because you're a huge Critical Role fan, and I have to point that out.
You can point it out. If you want to call it biased. That's perfectly fine. I am a huge Critical Role fan, and Matt Mercer being a voice actor in this game.
If there was an NPC that was like a main character that was like Brendan Lee Mulligan, I would have the same bias. I'd have the same bias.
With that being said, though, I think the story hook of what you saw in the opening cinematic was enough to make me go, oh, that's an interesting take. That's an interesting grab. I want to know why.
It is. I mean, it's interesting in the context of Zelda.
Yes.
But like, it's not. I'm trying to think of a game that I've played recently that has a really good story, but I don't play games for the story typically.
So yet again.
So okay. No, I got it. So, Hades.
You come back to Hades a lot.
The first however long thing. Yo, Hobbs, what's up, man?
Welcome in, Hobbs.
Welcome in. Thank you for the alert, my friend. So however long it takes you to get through the little tutorial cave and then get the cutscene and then you're in the game, right?
Okay.
If you take that amount of time of play and cutscenes or whatever, Hades is a game where I'm like, this is a cool story. I like these characters. I want to play more for that reason.
Okay. You didn't get that with this?
No. Not even.
You didn't get that with...
No.
Okay. All right. To each his own. The hook for me, like, oh, where did she go? Is she okay? Why is my arm this way? What's happening to my castle? I just got finished saving this girl's life in Breath of the Wild. Why can't she ever stay safe?
And maybe that's the difference, is because I
was invested.
didn't play... Yeah, I didn't play through Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I have no relationship with Zelda. She did, Link, wake up. Please complete these 4 dungeons, Link. And that's my, like, inner... Like, I didn't go through the whole arc.
From a love story, I don't see why people like Zelda. I'm more of a Mifa fan, but we can debate fish versus people on a later date.
I like that you just immediately like on a fish. I'll have the fish. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A fish.
Story is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, and I do really appreciate the voice acted scenes.
Yes.
Because I didn't realize how nice of a bells and whistles type thing that is until it goes into a cutscene, and instead of the characters just going, like when they talk and real words come out instead of just like I stubbed my toe sounds, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this shit's important. There's words, there's English, there's a dub.
And we've partnered with EA, we've partnered with Wild Hearts, we've partnered with a bunch of different companies, and I'm calling out Wild Hearts specifically is because I made a comment about it. You get a cutscene, but there is no actual cutscene. It's those...
Yeah.
Like, and those moments take you out of the game. Breath of the Wild did that a bunch. That bothered me. Wild Hearts did that a bunch. That bothered me. Monster Hunter did that a bunch.
But the Wild Hearts had a lot of cutscenes that were fully voice acted,
which were phenomenal. So like, I'm not trying to take away from Wild Hearts. There was definitely a balance there. Breath of the Wild had a bunch of it to the point that it bothered me.
Did Breath of the Wild have voice acted cutscenes or no?
Yes. But
it was just like Link, like that was the major plot points.
There was like 3 or 4 major cutscenes because of the heroes, and then there was like a beginning, a middle, and an end cutscene that was also voiced.
Oh, okay.
So
there was less frequent.
It was, but that's my point. Tears of the Kingdom has a lot more of that. So they've definitely production value, put money and time into it. Getting that $70 value, they put more into it. And let's face it, they got Matt Mercer to voice. That's a dollar value there.
But that's true. And maybe, now that we're talking about it more, I am thinking that the $70 perceived value is not necessarily content. It's a little of content. It's a little of mechanics. It's a little Matt Mercer. He was expensive. A little bit of, the other voice acted things. I think it's just an overall, this is our top shelf Switch games.
And honestly, going back to my point that I made earlier, if this is going to be their bar, they say that every $70 game will come to this bar. If that's what they're telling me moving forward, I'm excited for whatever the next $70 game is.
I think there's going to be not that long of a time where you have $70 Switch games before they start talking about the new console.
Yeah.
Whatever the new console is going to be.
It's coming real quick.
And I think 100% a launch or soon after launch will be Tears of the Kingdom at 60 frames on the new system.
Okay.
Because I think the new system has to run everything at 60.
That tracks pretty well with Breath of the Wild on Wii to Breath of the Wild on the Switch.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that, because that was, on top of it. That was, around the same time. But I think shortly after launch of the new console, we see a 60 frame. I don't know what else. Maybe a higher resolution?
Maybe.
But it has to run at 60.
All right, so let's talk about mechanics.
Mechanics. This is the meat of the sandwich. This is what I care about, and I think
more people are going to buy Tears of the Kingdom because of the mechanics than I think they will because of the story. And that is the first time me as a story-driven person is going to adamantly agree that that's the case.
Well, I think if you count the format of being an open world game, Breath of the Wild was also sold on mechanics. I think open world exploration is a mechanic.
You're right. It's a Zelda game, and I would have bought it because it was a Zelda game. The reason why I was so excited about it is because they gave me exactly what the year prior they announced I had pitched to the world. And I was like, we need Ocarina of Time, but a new one and open world. I said those words. I'm sure that so did every other huge Zelda nerd game.
And we need an open world Pokemon. The last 10 years have just been people saying, we need an open world. But yeah, I think the core mechanic of it being open world sold Breath of the Wild. And I think the lunacy, the pure chaos of the new mechanics of being able to build stuff in a physics-based world, it added the sandbox element. Okay, I think is what it is.
And that sandbox element, that open world element, the mechanic element of what you can do is very enticing. It's one of the reasons why Fortnite and its building mechanic is so popular.
So I was more excited leading into it, and I'm enjoying it more in the game of combining weapons and shields and arrows with everything you can find.
So because I was so ingrained in the Breath of the Wild, I have found myself not doing those things.
Oh, because
I'm still pure. I know how to shield, bounce over, dodge, attack. I'm still using the mechanics that I was given.
Well, those mechanics still apply, but you're not, when you get a weapon, you're not thinking, oh.
It's not until I get to a cave and it's I need to pick up this broadsword and join it to this rock so that I can break through this mountain.
Oh, see, you know every single time I have an empty slot for a blank weapon, I get excited because I'm like, what am I going to attach to this? Because have you done any of the have you done any of the attach a sapphire or a ruby to a weapon? Because that's where it starts to get fun.
I haven't, because I've been selling them all.
Criminal!
I've been selling all my gems because I got to.
I mean, if you needed money,
I want the gear, the new outfits and stuff. So every single time I came across those things, I sold them.
Don't sell them.
Okay.
Don't sell them. That's why you're not into it yet. The weapon fusing.
Do you get huge bonuses like damage?
So you don't get huge bonuses, but you get effects. So if you attach a,
I assume Sapphire.
I think Sapphire.
Use the red one, so it's fire or something.
Ruby's fire.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what the ice element is, but whatever the ice, say it's Sapphire for ice, it's like blue. If you attach a Sapphire to your shield, every time you parry, it will freeze the enemies in front of you.
Oh.
Or if you do it onto a sword, the sword will create a slow-moving ice ball. If you do it as with a topaz, it's lightning. You do lightning to enemies.
Interesting.
If you do a ruby, now your sword shoots fireballs or has like a flame effect or like it's all elemental stuff. I think there's a water one too.
I'll have to check those out. I haven't been doing that.
Those are the interesting ones. And then they also have like if you attach a mushroom to any weapon, if you charge it up or on the last hit of like your little combo, it sends enemies flying.
Oh, like a spring off?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's little things like that where it's like the mushrooms barely add damage, but they do add a huge knockback.
I've added normal things to my weapons. Like I've added grenades or bomb flowers to the tip of my arrows. I've added like another sword to the front of my shield, so like I can push back and take give damage. I've done things like that. I've also obviously had to add like rocks to my weapons in order to
hammers, stuff like that. Yeah, no, I think it's the elemental and these like little side things that you add that really make them cool. Also, Zonai devices. So like what?
Go on. I'll let you talk about it.
Okay, so I also have opinions on Zonai devices. But, like, if you have the flamethrower Zonai, and you attach it to anything, it's now a flamethrower. Shield. Every time you bring up your shield, it's a flamethrower.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Rocket, you can only do it once, which I think is kind of bullshit. If you attach a rocket onto your shield, when you pull out your shield, it goes and you go straight up for like 50 feet.
Really?
Yeah, and then the rocket disappears.
Cool. Oh.
But if you have like 5 rocket shields, that's like you have a crazy, you can use that in a boss fight to like get up and get the bullet time thing. But so Zonai devices, these little side mechanics and elemental stuff for me is like that makes the weapon stuff fusing more exciting to me than I built a giant killer robot death machine that took me an hour.
I have found that trying to build a giant bridge to get across, like, while is a way to overcome the elements in the game, there's other ways that problem could have been solved that I think are more in line with the tone of what Zelda was or is. Yeah,
well, usually the answer is not build a giant bridge across. It's like
so
they're trying to get you to build a catapult, or they're trying to get you to build a thing that floats with a fan or something like that. Everybody's just like, I don't want to think about this. I want to build a big bridge.
And that's like building a catapult to get across. Like those things, I don't feel are very Zelda-esque. So those are the aspects of mechanics that I'm not entirely thrilled with.
Yeah,
but the amount of crazy things that people have built, or the interesting and unique ways to overcome challenges. I saw one where somebody took the walls, built the walls up in a huge, massive circle, moved the circle over, walked to the bad guy, and put the guy inside of a circle.
Yeah, I've seen people do that with horses.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they'll do that, and then they'll do fans on the outside all pitched in the same direction, and then they'll put flamethrowers on the inside.
Yep.
So they put them in, they turn it on, and it rotates and flamethrowers them.
So, like, that's really creative things I think are really interesting. It's cool. To Nintendo's point, those are like those TikTok moments.
Yeah, those will be the viral things.
The creative, so
But I will never do those.
Yeah, that's not my.
I'll
my
do.
style.
You were watching the stream the other night, and I was trying to make a little floating platform like airship.
Okay.
And I did like balloons on top.
Yep.
And then fans. And you were like, "Oh, I thought you didn't like the building." That, like, building something that will move me is like as far as I'm gonna get.
Okay.
I did see a cool thing about you stick 2 fans onto a steering thing.
Okay.
And that's it. You do the steering thing, fan in the front, fan in the back, and it's like a hover bike.
Oh.
And it's because it's only 3 pieces, it's super
easy.
super low power cost. But maybe something like that.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not building
so
this flamethrower thing to come and fight the boss for me.
I have mounted a wheelbarrow to the back of a plane with a rocket underneath it, and stuck my little dude inside in order to get across the map to deliver him. The Corey, sea dudes. So, like, I think the mechanics, Zelda sold itself. The open world helped to sell the Zelda that sold itself. But I think the reason why there's the amount of success for this game is because of the mechanics.
Yeah, specifically the building.
Yeah.
Because that's all I see on my feed is people building stuff.
Yeah.
Or telling me, like, the secret locations of items. Like, here's how you get to the Highland Shield in the first 37 seconds of the game. Which you can.
Interesting.
And then you duplicate it 1,000 times. No. But yeah, I like the mechanics of the game a lot. It does get a little ding for me on some of the puzzles and some of the things they ask you to do and build, and it just feels like work.
Okay. I get that.
So that's like a byproduct of the mechanics.
Yes.
It's not
something that they intended for you.
Yeah, because I like the building mechanics. I don't choose to engage with it as often as I think other people do. But I like it. When I use it, it feels good. But I don't want to have to use it to a degree higher than I have my own interests.
Okay.
Like, I want to be like, okay, there's 2 ways to get into the next room. Either you go in and you fight a really hard enemy, or you spend 5-10 minutes building something to get you across a gap or to do something specific and mechanical. I will choose the combat every time, but in a lot of these shrines, that choice is not there. It's just spend time building.
The combat, because you like combining things and you like using the mechanic for the combat, I think gives you the best of both worlds. You are usually a mechanic-driven player and gamer, so the mechanics of that combat is what you tend to enjoy.
Yes, but I'm saying a lot of the puzzles and a lot of the tasks you're required to do
is mostly
the building stuff, and I'm like,
okay.
but I don't wanna.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
Also, my other go ahead.
I've had some situations where I'm in a room and I need to build something, but my mind is so set on trying to accomplish this task one way, I am almost blinded by the other way that the developer had intended me to accomplish this task, which then takes me down this path that I become so irritated with this shrine, I have to leave and come back maybe a month later, and I'm in it with a fresh head.
Yeah.
And then I get it. And I'll be like, oh, that's what the developer wanted me to do. I don't like where it's only accomplished one way. And it was actually...
Yeah.
In the Sky Islands, in the very opening sequences, you go to an area of the map that is snowy. And you can't get to the next section unless you climb up the side. And you can't climb up the side because it's covered in ice, so you kept sliding down.
Yeah.
And everybody in the world saw the opening showcase.
I watched you play through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody watched the opening showcase, and in the opening showcase, they cut down a tree, put 3 trees together, stuck it up on the side, and climbed the tree. I have not seen a single person not do that. And it wasn't until after they learned the mechanics that they then go back and do it. and they think they're being cheeky, but I can see that their hearts are at like 4 or 5, and it's not the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, once they've realized that they can do other things and they've learned the mechanics, every person will try something new. But when you don't know the mechanics and you only have one concept of getting across,
yeah,
it's like the developer made it
should
for
have
that
been.
one way.
It should have been more like, this is a tutorial, and
Yes.
not like you're in the game and we want to give you freedom, but only when we feel like it.
I almost feel like the Treehouse Showcase was
tutorial.
We didn't do well at this one part. Let's make that a part of our showcase.
Yeah, maybe.
But, so, Zonai devices. You clearly had a thought about it.
Oh, yeah.
The Katakuri in Wild Hearts, to me, is the exact same thing as the Zonai devices.
I don't... So, there's two other problems I have with the game that are kind of related.
Okay.
And that's inventory management / resource management.
Okay.
And to me, I don't like Zonite devices because it's resource management. I love being able to conjure, and maybe it's just because I haven't got the saved, like the pre-made thing yet.
Okay, yeah.
But those still you have to have the Zonai devices.
Yeah.
So that's my problem is like, if I discovered the Zonai rocket, right, and to use the Zonai rocket, it was on a cooldown, or I had to have enough of a certain resource, I would be excited because now I have this rocket. But when it's like, here's 2 rockets, you get to use them one time. Good luck. I'm excited because I'm like, oh cool, I have a resource, and maybe it's extra valuable and supposed to mean more to me because it's limited. But I would get more excited if it was just like, this is a tool I can use now, as opposed to this is a tool I can use twice until I stumble upon more.
One of the minerals that you're already picking up throughout the entire world as part of your normal process, you are also then getting that mineral that you can use for the rocket.
Yeah, to get a certain amount of rockets.
Not adding more to your inventory, but using what your inventory have to be more meaningful for you.
Yeah. So some of the Zonai devices are cool. I do like it. I do like that there's the glider. I don't think there should be despawn times. I think that's crazy.
Okay. The despawn times were actually something that I discovered because I made a rocket going across. So I was at one sky tower, excuse me, and I went up into the air and I scanned the ground, I unlocked the map, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to glide over to this one little island. I got to the island and I realized that there was actually a floating ship there. And I gathered all these things, combined them together, and I aimed my floating ship at where the next sky tower was and launched myself off in that direction. And I got halfway there, and it blip, 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 and then disappeared.
And I guess that's to prevent you from just building a skyship and then going anywhere you want.
Yeah.
But, like, it doesn't feel good to have it blink out of existence right now.
And then I'm sitting there floating there going,
What does that mean? I think if it was going to be, like, related to the power, like, you can only recharge the power 10 times, and then you can't recharge it, and you're stuck until you touch the ground again. Like, that would make sense. But the fact that it just blinks, and it's like,
that's
the
it.
Switch can't do it. Sorry, goodbye. Like that, I don't like that. But inventory management and having to worry about, like, resources and spending them and keeping, like, I just want cool stuff. And a big part of that is weapon durability. Because the weapons in this game, and I know I'm in the beginning of the game, but, like, I'll get a good weapon, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. I will use it 4 times. 4 times. And then it's dust. And I'm like, that was stupid. Yeah. And then I get another good weapon, and I just think, oh, this is... I'll get to do half of a fight with this.
That's
If a weapon can't last one fight with one group of enemies...
That is my biggest disappointing thing about a weapon. I'll find something that I think is really cool, and I'm like, oh, this is a really cool thing. I went through this dungeon, crawled through this cave that I found in the wall, and I found this one sword. Like, that's a really cool sword. I want that sword. And you're right. By the time I've left that dungeon, the sword is already broken.
Yeah. It's good for a couple encounters, and I don't
I think
like
that
it.
I agree with you, and I think there's a very easy mechanic to fix that. And that's using some of the minerals that you have already found and discovered to use towards
Just
repairing.
repair it. That's all we want, is a repair that doesn't involve exploiting one of those
Zonai
Octa
devices.
things. No, the Octo guys.
Yeah.
They spit out your thing and then it is healed.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the bathroom really quick.
Okay.
You talk more about how much you hate weapon durability and how it's wrong.
So it's
Shameful.
not just weapon durability, but I also have a problem with the Zonai devices, because the Zonai devices to me were a big problem concept that I had with Wild Hearts. The Katakuri. I had to learn a new thing. I had to, it was, not only was it bad enough that I had to learn how to fight, and I had to learn the mechanics of this weapon, and learn how to upgrade this mechanic on that weapon, and learn how to upgrade and add these different things to make this weapon. I also then had to learn another resource tree, which was the Katakuri. And while they provided fun and creative ways to maneuver and navigate and fight in the world, I just didn't want to have to learn another thing. And the Zonai devices to me is learning another thing. I understand them in their existence in this game. I just don't know if that was individually necessary. Maybe the Zonai devices should have been randomly found and there was an abundance of them. Or they were given as a reward in the chest.
Yeah, you unlock them one by one,
Yeah.
and you can make cooler and cooler creations one by one. And you have them permanently, versus they give them almost all of them to you very quickly, but you only can have them.
Have one or two of them at a time.
So, Zonai devices and resource management, and that ties into weapon durability. I think those are my biggest gripes. And then some of the shrines are obnoxious.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I feel like that also was in Breath of the Wild or something.
That was also in Breath of the Wild. But I mean, the world is interesting and rewarding to explore.
Yeah.
And I get that a lot of that is driven by resource management, because I get so excited when I see a cave because I'm probably going to get some more bomb flowers.
Yep.
And bomb flowers are amazing because you just fire them your arrow and nuke groups of enemies.
Yep.
So that type of reward resource management I like.
Yeah.
But weapon durability and I mean, getting the diamonds and gems is also a resource management thing that I don't hate.
But you're
because
actively...
it's rare.
It's rare, but you're also actively using them in combat to make combat more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Zonai devices, it's just another thing, and you're not using them actively in combat.
You're just using them when you need them.
And for you, combat is the more entertaining thing. Not
and I do really like exploring and finding things.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't necessarily enjoy building things to find things. I like riding around on my horse, finding a tower, finding a mountain, jumping off, helping a person hold up a sign.
Which I didn't know you could do. There's so much in this game that, that guy holds a sign. Cool. All right, whatever, bye. And I keep going. And then you're like, no, wait. Actually do something.
Yeah. I like it. But yeah, I think I like it because of the mechanics. I think most of the exploration is driven by mechanics. And being an open world is still a mechanic, because the only the second, Breath of the Wild open world type Zelda's come out. So... do you think, because there's a certain curve of when you get into games, Monster Hunter, for example, is a slow burn, and then once you reach that point, you're like, oh shit, this is all clicked, I get it. And part of that is learning curve. But do you think the bigger hooks in this game are ahead of you or behind you?
So I'm gonna say this. In Breath of the Wild, you didn't complete it all, but the epic monsters, the big walking machines that were throughout the game, those moments they were very much like the water dungeon and the fire dungeon in Ocarina of Time back in the day. Those moments provided you with a reward that became, I thought, a valuable mechanic.
Yeah, I did get some of them.
Okay, so I think that there is going to be 4 more hooks.
Ah, okay.
And I'm curious as to what those are.
Hmm.
Now, some of those hooks in Breath of the Wild were call down lightning to attack your entire room.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's cool. That's like...
That's the kind of stuff I want, yeah.
The other one is you are
you
about
get
to die.
A boost, or it saves
about to
you.
die,
Yeah.
It saves you. Like, that's, like, there's an emotional reward there of, like, you're having an epic battle. You've gone through all of your food, all of your resources, now all of your health, and you're done. But I got another chance.
One more chance.
Like, that's cool. And sometimes those moments in Breath of the Wild were like the clutch moments.
I know. I've seen enough clips. I don't know. I don't think this is a spoiler.
Okay.
For you or anybody, but I've seen clips where Link is running around and he has like spirits following him. Basically, it looks like of other characters.
Oh.
So...
I just thought those were, like, remnants of a cutscene. I didn't realize that they were...
In the clips, I don't know, because I haven't looked into it. But to me, I've seen clips where it looks like...
Their dead heroes are back or something?
Like they are companions that you get, maybe, for clearing these dungeons or
Interesting.
The points of interest. And they follow you around and help you, but I don't know... How. Or if they're an ability, or if they, like, do things sometimes.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Or what.
Like,
so,
you're going to go to the 4 different cities, you're going to have to deal with 4 different problems, and you're going to get 4 different perks or whatever that are...
Similar.
Yeah.
But do you think, is that going to draw you in more than the mechanics? Because the mechanics are, like, from the get, the draw.
From me, yes. And because this plays into the story.
Yeah.
I want to know what's wrong with this city. What is the problem that I have to save? Like, and then whenever I'm talking to somebody, they're like, "Oh my God, well, Mifa over in the water area is like screwed. She's tied up to a post. You better go save her."
Yeah, I think.
And I'll walk in like a knight. Mifa, I'm here.
See, I think the hooks for me are further ahead, but for a totally different reason.
Okay.
Do not care about Mifa. No, I don't. I mean, the story's great. The story's not bad, but it's definitely not a draw for me. I think my hook is going to be rooted in combat and my ability to explore the world, because how much I like combat now, I'm gonna like it when it's more rewarding. Because it's harder. Because I can take more than one hit.
What was the falcon's name? The bird's name in Breath of the Wild?
Ravioli.
Sure.
Something. Rivoli.
Yeah, Rivoli. So, Rivoli's ability to... You can... up into the air, and then you can glide. Like, that made unlocking the map so much easier.
If you do get some really interesting mechanics, then yes, once I get one, then I'm going to want to collect them all. But if they're not like game changing like the other ones, I think what's going to drive me forward is now I have 10 hearts, I have 3 stamina wheels, and I have weapons that don't just tickle the enemy. I'm going to go punch that dragon in the mouth, all 3 of its mouths, because I saw that thing, and I'm like, oh, it's the tundra. It's not supposed to be the tundra. I bet this dragon is making it be cold. I'm going to go fight him. And because I saw a video of somebody fighting him, I'm like, I could do that. So I go fight him.
You thought Baby Fresh Link was going to go after the Dragon
It's
Ball
not
Z
Baby
dragon?
Fresh Link. I've done like 20 things, and so I start fighting this dragon. I do my stuff. I get him down. Now's the time I'm going to take away 1/3 of his life bar. King! I'm going nuts. I'm blowing through weapons. I look. He's getting tickled. Nothing. I would have had to burn through every weapon I had 10 times to kill this thing. So I think the ability to do interesting things like that, like little world bosses, have weapons that last longer
and
than
make
half
sense
an
for the
encounter.
battle that you're in.
Yes. I think that's going to be my hook. Actually being stronger and...
To do things.
Yeah, to do things is going to be... And exploring, because I'm going to be able to get a lot...
So I will say...
It's more stamina bars.
I have found myself, because I have my 3 screens, I will have my 4 screens. I'll have Zelda up on one screen, the actual game, and then I'll have the live stream and Facebook chat and Twitch chat up on another stream. And then my spare stream, I have a map of Breath of the Wild up.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it's what I know. I know Breath of the Wild. I know where things are. I've explored that map so well that I can look at the two and they are the same, but I've got things pointed out on my Breath of the Wild.
Oh.
It's kind of cheating, but at the same time...
That's so weird. That's so weird.
But I will be able to I'm going to go towards this area. I remember there was a village in this area. Is it going to be destroyed? Am I walking into a death scene? Or did they survive whatever happened?
Well, that's interesting. That's narratively interesting.
That's why I look at it, because I know where certain things are. I also remember where there were certain people who were building stuff. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what this will be.
It's so specific. I can't think of one instance where anybody was building anything in Breath of the Wild. I would be like,
It was just like 2 people who are putting things together, and they were like, oh, hi, yes, there's apples here.
I wonder if those people whose cart broke ever got their car fixed. Just 2 tombstones. No!
That's what I'm looking for. That's the type of stuff.
That is cool storytelling, though, too.
So, apparently there are things like that are in this game.
Interesting.
I haven't found them yet, and I've chosen not to read those articles, but I've seen the headlines, and I'm like, ooh. But that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when we do a full review, when we feel like we've played enough or beaten the game, about oh, we were so wrong. The best part of the game was this. Or we never, you never connect those dots, or all of the dots are connected. So I definitely want to play more. Unfortunately, Street Fighter 6 is coming out in a week. And then Diablo 4 is coming out 3 days after it?
Yeah. I'm sorry, buddy.
Come on, guys. Can't we all get along? Why you gotta do that?
Street Fighter, as much as I love Capcom and I kind of love playing those games with people, they're not games that I enjoy playing by myself. Those are one of those beer hangout nights with the guys, and we'll play this.
I know what we're doing after the stream, because I know you haven't tried the demo yet.
It's true.
If you tried the demo, you'd have been like, I tried the demo, stop pestering me about it.
So, that's the only purpose for me that game is, but Diablo...
Oh, boy.
Diablo's going to cut into some Breath of the Wild time.
By the way, y'all need to be following Mr. FateMaker over there. Well, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But FateMaker, his name's FateMaker80. He's in the chat. His comment there. We need to set up our shout-out thing. FateMaker is going to be...
FateMaker is actually the one that helps me set up the stuff.
FateMaker is going to be part of the Support a Streamer program, or campaign, or whatever you want to call it, for the Diablo 4 launch. So if you watch him, you can go on the Diablo 4 website. It'll tell you all of the different bonuses you get from watching his stream. And I think if you do 2 subs, you unlock a mount or something, a horse. So definitely... just join our Discord. Just join our Discord. He's in our Discord all the time. We're in our Discord all the time.
If you're in the Discord, you get to see all the great things that he cooks and gets to eat.
Oh my god.
So, FateMaker, thank you.
But yeah, definitely keep an eye on FateMaker when the game comes out. We're going to be playing probably a lot with him. We'll probably do some cool co-streams together.
Yeah.
Because we'll actually be playing the same game at the same time.
Same time, yep.
But man, I don't know what I'm going to do.
You're going to have a hard time.
Street Fighter and Diablo are both as high up there for me as it gets.
So, Tears of the Kingdom is one of those games that you probably would play on a flight heading home versus playing Street Fighter.
Well, yeah, because Street Fighter's on my PC, and that's not fitting in the overhead compartment.
Well, there's that. Diablo's also not, so I guess you're right.
I know. Switch, if I have my Switch, if I'm playing my Switch, if I'm downstairs on the TV, it's going to be Breath of the Wild.
What I'm hearing is I need to call your boss and make sure you travel over the next couple of weeks.
I mean, that's gonna be the only way Tears of the Kingdom gets much real estate. I mean, I'll play it around my house. Like, I'll play it on the downstairs TV and stuff. But if I have free time and it's my choice, I'm gonna be playing
Diablo
or Street Fighter.
I'll be playing Diablo. But I'm
gonna go back and forth.
I'm committing my Sunday stream, because if you don't know, I stream on Sunday, Presto streams on Tuesday, and then we usually stream together on Thursday. Special occasion, today's Friday, hi. So I will still commit to my Sunday stream being Breath of the Wild, because I want to move through this.
We'll see about that. We'll remember this stream that you said that. I think on a regular occasion, you're going to end up streaming Diablo on Sunday.
You think?
Yes, I do think.
Okay.
I do think.
I was a little addicted there. We'll see.
Yes, I know. You were foaming at the mouth when that beta ended. You were like, I remember, like, you called me and you're like, the beta's closed. And I'm like, yeah. It was a 2-day beta. It's done. Why? You're like, but how do we play more?
I said those exact words. I was like, I'm right now looking at the mobile game. Should I just download that? Will I get my fix?
No, don't do it. He's like, too late. Too late. I've already bought all the paid transaction stuff. No, I think Diablo's a hell of a drug. Diablo's a hell of a drug.
Hell of a drug.
But
Satan.
So let me tell you about a wholesome moment, and then we'll stop this episode tangent. I got on last Friday to do a stream of the Street Fighter beta, open beta. I played with Black Ice, Dom, and I played with Nick Yeti, and I had so much fun. That was the most fun I've had playing a fighting game with people that I know since I played Guilty Gear with Dom.
Do you want some?
I'll wait. I'll get another spoon as well, because you just stuck that whole ass spoon in your mouth. I've had so much fun with Street Fighter already, and I've done the closed beta, the open beta. I've played the demo. Street Fighter is up there enough for me to compete for Diablo with Diablo for my time.
Okay.
A huge part of that is modern controls. Because there would be a point where I would want to play Guilty Gear, I would want to play a fighting game, and I would sit down, I'd be like, I'm tired, I've had a couple beers, whatever. And it would be hard. I'd have to concentrate so hard to get my inputs out. And if I wasn't, like, white-knuckling it, my inputs weren't coming out.
So there's a guy at work, his name is Craig, and he was talking how there is a deflect mechanic
in the new Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah, parry.
The parry mechanic, and that a lot of people are exploiting that, because if you parry and the other person doesn't also immediately do something.
Oh no, drive impact.
Is that what it is?
So drive impact is... It's not part of modern controls, so it's
okay.
An everybody thing. But drive impact is basically your character goes in, explosion of paint effects, and you have about 1 second to react. And this hit can tank 2 hits.
Oh.
So if I'm going to do it on you, and if I know you're going to attack me, I do this. You hit me. I power through it. You hit me, I power through it. I get a huge counter punish on you. Does a big chunk of damage, and then I get a free full combo after that. The only options you have if I initiate one of those is block if you're not attacking.
Okay.
A lot of the times if you're attacking, it's too late. So your options are block, in which case you get pushed back and you lose some meter.
Okay.
So not a great option. You can grab... You can throw them.
Okay.
But you have to be on top. You have to be next to them. Because
yeah.
if you're more than a little bit away, you'll whiff and you'll get slammed in the face. The correct option is also doing a drive impact back to them. But you can't be already doing a move because you won't have time, and you have to react to it because it's literally half a second. So if you're thinking about it, if you're like, I bet they're going to drive impact me, I'm ready, you can react to it regularly. The problem is that's not how fighting games work.
You're in the middle of doing something.
You're trying to get your combo. You're thinking about, are they going to throw me? When's the last time they throw me? How much meter do I have? How much meter do they have? Are they going to try and special? Are they going to EX special? They don't have the meter for that. And I got to worry about drive impact. Like, it's the mental load. So a lot of people are...
This is why I don't do well at those games.
A lot of
Do
people...
any of
I
that.
haven't even started on the frame data of the drive meter. Yeah, drive impact, a lot of people are not super happy about because it's the answer to getting pressured in a lot of situations.
Okay.
And not everybody... Once everybody knows instinctually, like in Smash, if I'm coming out with a Falcon Punch, you know what it is. You know what you have to do.
I have seen this happen in Tears of the Kingdom where you're doing an attack and they just power through your attack.
Yeah. So... But it's not overpowered. You just once you learn how to react to it, once everybody learned how to react to it, it's going to be like it's risky to use because everybody knows how to counter it. It's very easy to counter if you're ready for it, and everybody's eventually going to be ready for it. But the modern controls, instead of having to do forward, down, down, forward to do a uppercut, it's right and the special button. If you want to do Hadouken, instead of down, down, forward, forward, it's just special button. All of the advanced inputs.
So
it's like Smash.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like
Smash,
Smash.
but their Smash's combos weren't as long out. But
Well, yeah, the combos are still there. But here's another thing: if you don't know how to do combos and you don't know how to link attacks, and you're really bad with attack timing, you hold one of the shoulder buttons and you do light attack 3 times, medium attack 3 times, or heavy attack 3 times. And as long as you get that first hit and you're holding the button, you can tap as slow or as fast as you want, and it will automatically create a basic combo for you.
Interesting.
Yes. So if you have a bar of meter, some characters you'll jump in, you'll do the medium auto combo, and it will end with spending that meter. So you're getting a combo and guaranteeing that you're connecting with a special or a super from just doing that combination. So those 2 things are the things I have the most trouble with, is like getting combos into supers and doing specials. And also like big supers you do with 2 buttons. That's it. You just hit 2 buttons and you're doing like super crazy. I know I'm getting on a tangent. The point is that modern controls have made Street Fighter so much more appealing of a game that it's going to compete
Then
with
Breath of the
Diablo.
Wild.
Kind of. Anyway, we will be back with a full review at some point.
Yeah.
I have no idea how long that's going to take.
Yeah.
But we're not going to rush it. And
No,
a lot of people are not rushing
at least
it.
beat it twice, I think, before that happens.
You'd be the Nintendo granddads. We'd be grayer than we are right now. Yeah, that's the episode. That's our thoughts so far. Corporal's going to continue to stream it on Sunday. I am probably not going to be streaming it once Street Fighter and Diablo come out. We're going to be playing those. Also, PlayStation State of Play this week.
Oh, yeah.
Weird Splatoon clone. Foam Stars looks ridiculous. I think it'll be closed out.
I am waiting for the Microsoft showcase.
Waiting for what in the Microsoft showcase?
That's my point.
Oh,
I'm not expecting anything.
No.
I really think it's going to be trash.
Anything will be a surprise.
Well, Microsoft for the past several years has been promoting the same couple things, and they've been delayed, And each showcase, they've been promoting the same thing. So,
Please buy an Xbox. You'll have Star Citizen. That's gonna be the Xbox.
If I get
plays.
another Star Citizen and there's another game, I can't remember what it was, but if I get those 2 advertisements and I don't get anything that's exciting, Xbox, you shouldn't have even done anything. Like, you wasted your money.
Yeah. I kind of already feel that way.
I need to see that there is something in that showcase. Other than those 3 things, there needs to be something in that showcase, otherwise they wasted their time.
We'll see. I am very excited about Marathon.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about Marathon, and I've gotten... If we weren't buried in games, I would go out and buy Dragon's Dogma.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Dragon's Dogma 2 looks really cool,
Mm-hmm.
and I never really looked into Dragon's Dogma 1, but I did, and the first thing I read is Dragon's Dogma is the best and most underrated Dungeons & Dragons-like video game.
Ooh. Okay.
Because you play as a class, and you basically recruit other characters to form your party.
It's on the Switch?
It's on the Switch. It's real-time combat, so like RPG real-time combat, and everything I've seen about it since I saw Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm like, well, I don't have time to play this right now, damn it. Like, I'm already... Oh, gosh. Corbel's gonna have it bought before... I think this is what we're doing tonight, actually.
Oh?
Dragon's Dogma. No, it's not multiplayer. It's not multiplayer.
Damn.
I think when I initially saw it, I was like, what's this? And it's like a single-player RPG... And I turned it off.
Oh.
I was like, no,
That's
I
not...
want multiplayer. It's old, too. It came out 10 years ago. And then it got ported to the Switch, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago? 3 years ago? Anyway, yeah, so there was some cool stuff in the PlayStation, Sony State of Play, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
We're gonna go gush over this this trailer. But you're not streaming on Sunday.
No, I won't be streaming on Sunday.
You sure won't.
I just got finished telling everybody that I'm going to keep playing on Sunday, but I guess not.
No stream this Sunday. A wedding.
That's
Believe
why
it or
I'm
not.
here in Florida. People are apparently getting married.
I get
The strangest text messages.
wow.
So,
yeah, no Sunday stream. I will be back on Tuesday with
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. I was thinking about it because I'm like, wait, will Street Fighter be out?
No.
I'm a goon. Although, Street Fighter comes out a week from today. So, I will be streaming.
So you'll be streaming on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
And
then Friday I will be streaming Street Fighter because it'll be out. Crazy.
So that on Thursday, I'll probably just stream Tears of the Kingdom again.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Unless our good friends at Capcom give me the hookup and I get a review copy that I'm allowed to stream the day before. Because that did happen with Sunbreak.
Yeah, that you're allowed to stream the day before. And if that's the case, I'll hang out and chat and video while you play the game.
Yes. So we'll see. Maybe early Street Fighter, but probably not. Probably a double dose of Tears of the Kingdom and then Street Fighter on Friday.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the show.
Did you know that Luke doesn't like steaks?
Luke Skywalker doesn't like steaks?
Luke Skywalker doesn't like steaks.
Why doesn't he like steaks?
They're too chewy.
Oh. That's a wrap, everybody. Bye.
Bye.